It's Hope here from Crafty Hope, and welcome. I am working on ICAD number 58. Now, if you're new, ICAD means Index Card a Day. It is a challenge from Tammy Garcia of Daisy Yellow, who's Gypsy999 on Instagram. She has weekly themes and daily prompts. You can see there that her daily prompt for today is Ultramarine. I've got a little bit of Ultramarine. Well, I've got a little tube of Ultramarine blue paint that I decided to pull out because, yeah, that's the first thing I thought of when I saw that prompt. And then my friend Nina Fickett has a daily prompt as well for Mixed Media ICAD, and hers is sap green. I didn't have any of that in my stash, and I wasn't really sure that I could get ultramarine blue and sap green to work together, so I don't know. So I'm not going to be using that one. I am starting this card. My personal challenge for ICAD this year was to use up some scraps. I had 2 scrap boxes. I've now combined them as of like this past week into one scrap box. So for today, I decided to just grab a handful of some of the smaller pieces and start just gluing them down. Not even really worrying with what they are, just glue them down. And that's what I'm doing. I'm using my Uhu glue stick and I'm just sticking some random stuff down. Now this works and doesn't work for me. These scraps I get down don't go together at all. There's no cohesiveness to them. There's nothing I can work with. But the last little piece I put down kind of spurs an idea for me. At the beginning of ICAD, had a couple ideas of things I wanted to do with my cards to just be a little different. Was it last week? I don't even remember now. I'll put a link in the upper right, but I tore one of the cards apart and kind of sewed it back together, and that was great. But one of the other things I've been wanting to do is also to alter the card in a more substantial way. This isn't really it, and with only 3 days left, we'll see if I actually do the more substantial way. But in this one, I am going to alter the card some. So here's the little piece that I stick down, this little purple circle that I stick down that kind of spurs the idea. So while I'm sitting there looking at it, I think, I do have one more piece I'm going to put down. Like I said, do y'all see how, I don't know, now those colors really go together. Nothing about it feels cohesive. That purple stands out and kind of makes me go, okay, well, we're going to go with purple. I don't think I've done a whole lot of purple cards this year. So, yeah. I'm going to grab a Stabilo Woody and in the purple and make some additional circles on my card is what I decided to do, because I really like that purple. Once I stopped futzing with all the bits of scraps, I was struggling here because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I didn't want to just cover the whole thing with gesso like I tend to do. So instead I'm just futzing with the whole thing. All right, so I'm like, okay, Hope, you got to take a plunge. You got to do something. So like I said, I grabbed that purple Stabilo Woody, and I'm going to make some more circles just on the card. I think I make about 4 of them, so there's an odd number total on the card. And then I'm going to bring the gesso in. But instead of covering the whole card with gesso, I'm going to go around these circles. I'm going to find a paintbrush eventually. This whole card, y'all, I've cut out pieces and bits of this and sped up things because this card in total took me about 40 minutes. I was really grasping. It is not my usual card for sure, but like I said, I wanted to experiment. I wanted to try something I haven't done and been wanting to do. So I went with it for this card, and that's kind of what's great about ICAD is to experiment with art techniques. This is just an index card. I'm just using scraps. I'm making myself use some of my supplies and materials, and it's fine. It's a great way to kind of get a feel for what you enjoy doing. So that's what I'm doing. So I've got that gesso down. I'm excuse me, y'all. I've got a little bit of a scratchy throat this morning. I'm making sure that the gesso is covering up some of those darker areas. And I think I'm going to go ahead and grab that purple Woody again and, put some of my lines back in because I kind of blurred them a little bit, some of those circles. And I'm going to look at this and decide to grab my Stabilo all in black. And for some reason, I was grasping, just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I'll grab that Stabilo all in black and just go around the inside of each of these circles and then use a wet paintbrush to activate that. Now, I don't know what that did. It kind of highlighted the center of these a little bit more, which was kind of fun. But I was just more than anything trying to keep my hands busy. And it was somewhere in here while I was activating these circles that I was like, what am I going to do with this card? I don't even know. I can't fathom excuse me, what it is that I'm going to do with these purple circles. Maybe I'll just paint over the whole thing with gesso and start over because it's got some great texture. And yeah, so I'm going to look at this for a while and think on it. And then I decided, okay, well, let's go ahead and get that ultramarine blue down on the card. So I'll put a little bit on my desk and get a really wet paintbrush and go ahead and just splatter the card, and done. I've got ultramarine blue on the card. I have hit one of those prompts. So yeah, I mean it's kind of like phoning it in here, but I did it. I used that blue. I've got a prompt in here. So I will, once I get this down kind of on my card, I'll go ahead and dry it. And y'all, I do love purple and blue together. I think, they're next to each other on the color wheel, so I think they're supposed to work like that. I don't know. I am going to, I think, clean up my desk a little bit because, yeah, I've got that blue and that gesso, and I'm just going to scrape it in a book off to the side. All right, so now I will dry this real quick. And while I'm drying it, I decided that I really, oh, am I going to do this first? So I wanted holes in the middle of my card. And I thought, okay, I'll just use a hole punch. But I realized that the hole punch is not going to work. It won't reach into them. So I started thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So what I end up doing is grabbing this. It's a Tim Holtz Tonic craft knife. Now I do have like an X-Acto type knife, but the head doesn't fit the handle that I have, and yeah, so I'm gonna use this and add to my shopping list an X-Acto knife that works well because this takes me a while. This is some of what I'm going to cut out here. Is I am cutting out some of the center of these circles. So, and they're coming off in bits and layers because of all of the collage I put on top, but that's okay. I did find that turning the card was the easiest way to do this. So I will get this one punched out and start on that second one, and then we're going to speed ahead and I'll let you see. Now the areas that had fabric on it, oh y'all, those were the worst parts to try to cut because that fabric didn't really want to cut with that craft knife. But I did it. I have got 5 holes in the center of my little purple circles. And I decided I didn't really care for the white background. That felt very boring. So the way I was going to dress it up was I grabbed a Sharpie S gel pen. This is a 0.7 one because I wanted some black lines. I love doodling just lines. I like how they can get wonky, and some of them are close together and some are far apart. I don't know. I just love it. I love the line. So I'm going to do that all the way across the card. And here in a second, I'm going to speed this up quite a bit. I'm not going this fast. It is like I've got this sped up, or I'm about to speed it up to 4 times the speed so that you don't have to watch me draw these lines over and over. But I really thought this helped with that blank white background. The Sharpie really did a good job of going over even the fabric areas. So, yeah, I like this. It's a statement for sure. In all, like I said, this is not a card that I would normally make. It's going to end up without a sentiment, without a focal. It's really about the textures and the way I finish this because it's just an odd little unique I'm trying to think of the best way. It's a curiosity, I suppose. All right, so I've got my lines drawn and I really wanted to bring in some embroidery floss, but I was trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do with it. So I did grab some bright golden yellow embroidery floss, got it on a needle. I think I broke it down to 3 strands because embroidery floss comes in, there's 6 strands per strand. Yeah, there's 6 threads in each piece. And so I broke it down to the 3. Does that make sense? Anyway, I broke it down in half. And I'm making X's across these, and I'm trying to make sure as I use my thread that I'm not going over some of the other holes so that I'm not getting random lines in the background of these. I want to make sure that the only thread that's showing are the X's so that when I move my thread from one hole to another, you'll see in a second, I pull that through. I'm going to go to the one kind of above it and go catty corner so that the thread stretches so you don't see it. So, and when I make my X's, I'm doing kind of the same thing. There's one or two you can kind of see the thread going across the back, and I dropped my thread like twice in this. I don't know what was up with me. Having a day, y'all. Having a day. Like I said, this isn't my normal, usual kind of card, but I'd like to know what you think of it. I'm happy that I experimented a little, did something outside of my comfort zone. It's very unique. I like that it is kind of a curiosity piece for me and that I tried this. I don't know how I would bring this into something else. Well, no, I have a couple of ideas, I think. Maybe like a tip in or something inside a journal page. That would be kind of neat. That kind of hides and shows different things on the next journal page. That could be interesting. Anyway, so I am finishing this up. I'm going to tie off the back of this. I have just enough thread to finish this, y'all. I was very lucky. And that's part of the reason I broke it down is to make sure I had enough thread because all I found was this one piece of this golden yellow. And I knew I needed a little bit more, so I'm going to grab a wet paintbrush and see if that being Sharpie, I wasn't sure if it would react to water, and it does. The gel pen does. So I'm going to grab a wet paintbrush and just go around the outside edges to help frame this up a little, and then I will just splatter the water on the card to see if that will affect any of the lines on it. It does a little, but not really. And like I said, I'm going without a sentiment or really a focal or anything. It's just about how fun and weird this card is in itself. All right, y'all. I hope y'all do like this. I'm getting a kick out of it. So I hope you'll give me a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe and come back tomorrow to see what I do for ICAD number 59. All right. Thanks for watching, y'all. Bye.